For the last half-decade, the UFC's welterweight division has been in a tailspin. Usman steadied the ship for a bit there, but he fell asleep at the wheel. Della Maddalena is going to bring stability to welterweight, and here's why. We've been living in the boring fighter era of the UFC for the last couple of years now, and the champions and contenders at welterweight have been a big reason for that. Everybody and their dog hated Tyron Woodley before he lost to Kamaru Usman. He killed off some lovable prospects and had a couple of stinkers as well. People were very excited when he lost the belt to Usman, but there was some backlash over that performance. Quelled some of that with the Fight of the Year contender against Covington, but Masvidal at UFC 251 was a brutal fight to watch live. Then he finished Burns and Masvidal and had a relatively good fight against Colby. After Usman scraped by Colby Covington in the second fight, some people were trying to say that he was better than GSP. Some people were trying to say that he was more entertaining than GSP as well. People will discredit a lot of Islam Makhachev's wins at lightweight because a lot of them were former 145ers, but in my opinion, Usman is far worse. He really benefited from the UFC not having 165 and 175, right? Usman is a very big welterweight, and Colby, Masvidal, Burns, RDA, if we want to go back that far, are all realistically at most 165-pound fighters. Kamaru Usman being bigger allowed him to out-physical a lot of guys, so when his knees and his mobility went, he kind of just fell apart. So, we got Leon Edwards as champion. Yup, and his performance in the rematch was subpar, and he cheated a bunch, so everybody turned on him pretty much immediately. I remember when Leon beat Usman, people were praying, and they were saying something about it being a glorious day, but we didn't know what we had with the Usman era, because I would argue that Leon Edwards is less entertaining than Usman. Oh god, it got worse. We thought it was going to get better. It got worse. The Colby fight was just sad. He was fighting on one wheel. Colby Covington, no exaggeration, was hobbling around like Bambi for 24 and a half minutes of that fight. And Leon just wasn't pushing. So we need someone to save us. Okay, do we have anybody else? No? Okay. He'll have to do. Belal Muhammad gets the 48-47 decision. Not boring, but the fight isn't going to win any awards. Woodley to Usman, Usman to Edwards, Edwards to Muhammad. Every time we hope for the best, but we just end up with a ton of buyer's remorse. Belal Muhammad versus Della Maddalena feels different. Belal really had nothing for him. Don't tell me he did. Those are pity rounds. Live, I gave every round to JDM. Same score on the rewatch. I don't know how you give Belal a round. Activity, volume in some instances, but he's not pushing JDM back with these punches. He's not knocking him off balance. There's nothing going on there with a lot of Belal strikes. It's not like Belal didn't do anything. The rounds were somewhat competitive, but they were clear for JDM. Belal couldn't control the pace, and he couldn't get the takedowns. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for Belal. But that's because of JDM's game plan and his skill set. That is not Belal's bad weight cut. That is not Belal's bad coaching or this or that. No, it is all JDM neutralizing Belal. Super measured to start the fight, and as Belal started to get a little bit antsy, overcommit on some shots, JDM would start to sit down on more punches, extend some combos. What really jumped out to me, and I had this feeling going into the fight, was you think about JDM and you think of him as a boxer, almost a pure boxer, but he isn't as much of it as some other guys on the roster. JDM's leg kicks, like an Ilia Topuria, help to slow people down, set things up. 63, 26, 10 were the percentage to the head, body, and legs. Those numbers are a little bit skewed because JDM headhunted more in the later rounds, especially that flurry kind of at the end of the fifth. A lot of headhunting there. But that first round, he was chewing up Belal's leg, making it harder to shoot, threatening the uppercuts and the knees up the middle, and just keeping Belal stuck in the mud. JDM's grappling was overlooked by the odds makers and the general public, but Belal's grappling is very different from Gilbert Burns or a juiced-up Basil Hafez. Craig Jones, once again, is a godsend for these Australian MMA fighters who want to learn how to counter-grapple. I think now JDM, Volkanovski as well. Jack would get taken down, be in bad positions, and stay composed. do everything right, stand back up. He's yet to have a boring fight, and I doubt that he's going to start now that he's champion. He has 5 rounds to work, which is a curse and a blessing for his style, because again, he can get the body work going, which will slow him down later, but he has to be a little bit more measured than like the Randy Brown fight or the Kevin Holland fight. But again, he has more time to finish people. He almost finished Belal in the 5th, I think. 1 more minute, maybe minute 30, probably finishes him. There were some moments where it felt like he almost fumbled the finish, but it didn't really matter, especially when he had all those rounds banked. He just put a beating on Belal. After he got up, he took like a minute on the ground, just hanging out in half guard for a little bit, got up and said, okay, well, let's put an exclamation mark on this performance, and got it done. Brady, Shavkat, Gary, Buckley, Morales, all fun fights for JDM. All very winnable as well. The one that really sticks out to me is Brady. That's the scariest one, because his grappling is different from Burns, Basil Hafez, and Belal. He has meaty grappling that's very control heavy. Belal, he'll take you down like a couple of times and let you back up and drag you down. No, Brady takes you down once and he just hangs out and camps in half guard. And a little bit spooky, Sean Brady has beat Craig Jones in a grappling competition. I don't know how much that weighs in his teaching ability for other people, but just something to note. It might be recency bias talking as well, but at this very moment, I favor him against Makhachev. I can see him doing, I don't know if he finishes him. I think he has to stay composed, and I think the fight ends up a lot like the first Volk fight. A lot of similar grappling exchanges, except Jack is just physically bigger and stronger and can hit harder than Volk. One of Volk's weaknesses is that he doesn't really let his hands go as much and doesn't have as much faith in his power as JDM does, right? So we've seen Makhachev get chinned before. That's in the back of our minds. There are certainly options for JDM moving forward. He can very easily help to course correct the path of the UFC Welterweight Division. I am firmly behind Jack Della Maddalena. I kind of think that Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot could have went either way. If I have to be honest, I don't really care enough to cry robbery, but seems clear for Shevchenko, but like Fiorot for sure won a round or 2, maybe 3. The commentary at one point said that the fence was where Manon Fiorot did her best work. Not takedowns off of the fence, not clinch striking on the fence, just being on the fence. You know, the fence is where most politicians do their best work as well. Doesn't mean I have to like either, but I know which way I'm leaning. The commentary team also described the fight as fascinating, so I have prepared a list of things I got done during the fight. Clipped my nails, put in a little laundry, grabbed snacks, took a piss. I only actively watched probably 15 minutes of the fight, but I feel like I didn't miss much. All the UFC shows in the hype packages is Shevchenko's head kick over Jessica Ai. She hasn't got a finish since 2021. Her recent title defenses are Lauren Murphy, Caitlin Chukagian, Jessica Andrade, who we know can't grapple worth shit, and she dropped a round and a half to Jennifer Maia, arguably lost to Taila Santos. I rewatched that fight in the build-up, and I think Shevchenko actually got it, but I think you can maybe make that argument for Taila Santos. There's a lot of discourse now being like, why is everybody turning on her? A year ago you thought she was the GOAT. Yeah, because now we figured out that all the people she beat weren't that great. Like, after this card, we know 100% that Jessica Andrade can't grapple worth shit. You know? Manon Fiorot was just bigger, stronger, more physical, so Shevchenko couldn't get things going as much. Ended up dropping her in the 4th with a right hand, I believe, that she was going for the whole fight that didn't land until it did, which is cool, I guess, but still kind of boring. Quite a few fouls happening in this fight, and if you miss an illegal shot, you should still get a point deducted, or there should be something more than a warning. I don't even know how you'd implement something like that, but you throw an illegal knee, and it gets blocked, you stick your dirty, grimy fingers in the cage like Shevchenko did, and then, oh, you're not blocking a takedown, but you're threatening a foul, like, it boggles the mind. It's time to let Weili Zhang move up for double champ status if she wants to fight more than once this year. She's on a 1 fight per year contract, apparently. I don't know. She must be really injured after not taking any damage in her last 3 fights. But she has to take a year off every time. God, it's so annoying. Manon Fiorot versus Macy Barber next. I think that makes sense. 6650 El Camino Road, Las Vegas. Here we come. Jose Aldo versus Aiemann Zahabi was a fight that happened. I would say maybe fight of the night over Belal JDM. That fight officially got fight of the night, but there was a couple others on this card that were pretty good as well. Aldo missed weight, so it kind of threw off the whole dynamic of the fight. There was for sure a world where Aldo kills himself to make that weight, has an even worse chin, worse cardio, and gets finished in that third round. That's not impossible. For live scoring, I gave Aldo the first 2 rounds, but I don't hate 2 and 3 for Zahabi. Maybe you give Aldo the third because of the early knockdowns, but the guy was on death's doorstep right before the end of the fight, so bad optics. Chicken jockey. Jose Aldo retired, but he did this before. When he lost to Merab, he said similar things in the media, had similar body language. So I would not be surprised if this isn't the last we've seen of Jose Aldo. Aiemann Zahabi asked for Marlon Vera in the post-fight interview, so that's fucking stupid, and here's why. He wants to jump up the rankings, that's cool. Cheeto's good because he's kind of a one-trick pony. Except he's fighting Mario Bautista in a month, and that is very winnable for Mario Bautista. If Cheeto at number 7 loses to Mario at 10, Aimann's at 11, he's only moving up 1 spot. He should have just asked for the winner of that fight. They announced that Vitor Belfort is getting inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. It sounded like the crowd booed. John Anik and the fighters in the video package talked about Belfort being a pioneer. Yeah, he sure did pioneer steroid use. 3 failed tests, and he never served a day of suspension time. That's how I'll remember him. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva for someone who was a champion 8 months ago. Grasso just cannot make adjustments. Couldn't do it in the Shevchenko rematch, couldn't really do it here. Silva picked her apart at range. Very Lerone Murphy coded. Can't really be angry at the game plan, but it left a lot to be desired, just like cancer. She's probably getting the title shot next, but if Weili Zhang wants to sneak in here and scoop it up, I would not be opposed. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Kyle Propolic. BSD just does not look impressive and leaves a lot to be desired defensively. Probably would have lost to Joel Alvarez, but it seemed like Saint-Denis has staph above his eye again. Like, god damn it, man, get yourself a fucking bar of soap. Kyle isn't as bad as a lot of people have said recently, but BSD probably should have got him out of there in the first round if he's ranked, and this is just a guy coming off the shelf. 0-2 in the UFC before this, I believe. And you're getting hit by him a surprising amount, you know? I can't trust Saint-Denis against anybody in the top 10. Alvarez is now moving up to welterweight. He's been teasing us for years. Now he's going to fully commit to it, so that fight's off the table. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Michael Chandler is written in the stars. Give Kyle Propolic one more fight in the UFC. Thanks for doing us a favor, pal. Thanks for stepping up on short notice. Here's a lightweight who's more so on your level. Is Mark Diakase still kicking around? I'm not sure. Kurt Holloway, Ottman Azaitar, these guys who have maybe not quite sniffed a ranking, but they were kind of those top 25 guys, and now they're old and mid. That's the main card. Let's get down to business with the prelim lightning round. Chucky, baby, if you don't win, you can't say the word. Jessica Andrade, man. This guy can't defensively grapple, man. Blatant robbery. Navajo's hair transplant helped him barely pass the eye test. Bruno Silva got his skull bashed in. Daniel Santos sure did win. Father no. 9 for 12 on predictions for this card. I thought Radke could make the fight really dirty, but Mike Malott is still pretty good. You could also argue that Aldo Zahabi and Bukauskas Kutalaba could have gone the other way. I'm going to keep my head up high. Everybody called it a trash card, but a lot of these trash cards will end up over-delivering. That was the case for this event, so it gets 7 broken noses out of 10. Let me know what you think about JDM's title win or anything UFC 315 in the comment section below. Shout out to Lamb Slayer for being a vampiric enjoyer. You too can get your name read out at the ends of videos just like them. Like, comment, and subscribe for more MMA content. Thank you all so much for watching. 5-0 for Giacomo, and have a good time.